남님 거기로 오겠어.
남들아 참다 빼면서 상고.
알았어.
남들 전부 또서 차가도 와야. 다디 이니다 유군이냐 남들나라 삭제돼 망해요. 이나 유리니 마다 배고는데 순수마다 양그 삭제 유인을 군도 뒤셔도 와. 그러다 거기 나한테 유군이냐 바카서 배고는냐 바카서 유군이냐 바카서 또 삭제 수도 장이야. 남들 되기는 인도 돈다 지바래 가지 가서 삭제 장나 마장나 가지 랑기 삼리나라 하기 리투 보거라 대전에 삭제 장 차버 개발돼요 돼 그때 잠지 로라 핑기 말와 보다 도시다 다 디나라 nie percaso gundini que conhece nie percaso sambalani tá tambo gundini percaso tá tem ngoni 아주 전중선다지 아니 직 이가보단 텐데기 중선에 미케바던 중 깨다시미 중선이지 말해 단디게 된 거마 직 유토라 자르데 삼노타나 시기는 굴려 개기지 개지게 담아요 어디 손다래 다 지가팔레스 팔체 팔모치니 미남니 담바마인 조용진 때는 수세 효원 파정 네브랑엔도 이제 답이 그저 남린 처음에나 빼지는 남린 뜻이나 즉 동성계 통침배 세들 아니 강갈릉기 제만기 세들 지den게 감기들 저런 때리기 빼정기도 와 이거 오늘 그래 나랑도 냐완도 근데 동성계 동침배 지den기 둘나진 빼 요아레스 냐완도긴 트라메 봐 아니 텔레 이다디 뇽에 텔레 둔도 뇽에 텔레 니 뇽에 텔레 니라니 단전 주주 상인데 님의 karmanaji 차생기 때문에 이제 소라 차게 세모즈는 때 춘춘지로 와 대체물로 둘때 텔레 뇽으로 와 보다 텔레지 숨도 와 빼래 보다 되게 거네 나랑 저 삼다나 오늘 차고래 다때단 점분이 나라 미 dunjuri chika chigido wa tenani tachi sangi tembadan jaldegene pe nyungshi jiro wa tenani sangi tembala tejende temini chitine tape dusche digala ni longa zundu ki tembadan jaldege telegi ani ti nyamen cheganda ta telegyan ta ngoni kem gono mejere kebje namba ngina so tendepe 자자가 가시 손을 마도 신답건댕이 잡아 돈라 니숨지 장기 알아대 신 내가 지금도 가고 있기라 그득시지 당하나 수수 시기를 삼다 두스제나 라토야지 두와 배가 배나가 손지 잡아지네 로니스랑 숨주 두고 와래 녀몽기 초라 되게 공도 주주래 얘긴 구워 말해 삼로 땅구와 말아 깬체바상이 렌상 주도 제투고 와래 개회 철라 경거미지 소나진데 bungu tang 젠댕인지 애니페 도데칸니 라테바나진데 오늘도 와 개회 철지랑 아주 티지가 과 레야라 뺨미스 갈래도 와 당가 티 수소 갈래 여겨들 라겨 와 갈래도 되나진다 강가마 판처에 개지게 담아요 어떤 두스래 망체지 떠난 거나요 말아 알 땅보 갈렌두 라야게 뽑아요 말아 떠난 거나요 말 남바이나 어떻게 인도 갈라케산 저는 개지 남배 손디 소디 갈라 깨물고는 뭐지게 직 남바인데 남바 주마 먹는 거 그래야고 말해서 세부송도 어떻게 졸라 직 뭐네 나한테 남바 예 주마다 뭐마 쳐발라 땅본 소수 낭비 기지 상황이 제고도 건조섬에 이치를 때봐 에 건조섬 뭐시바 개발시바 깁숨 남바 따바지 걔는 남바 차고 얼마도 대마도 남바 차고 말해 만체정 아주 김대도 말은 남바 인기를 초절해 지지기도 대 개새끼 한번 이치기네 namba chabala ngoni kendri gyu urma da kendri gyu na ngasong sumna jita ko wa ngasong sumna jita min do ngasong sumla chada musum chembe ngasong sumna doyagi gyu de ngaso tu do jita me inza gyu de tu go ma jita ne gyu de tu maro gyu de do wa ngoni do wa ta te indu gala ta di dini kachama bu shen ne chomin ta dini ma login jiga pale 다 유군이 녀버라 팔제 민이 민남네 담바만인 조인 데네 수식교는 이 교는 팔제를 녀버 간로로 예수 받다 토리토베 센랑 제바당 라진게 카나마토바 제메트 쫓진 진짜 미집에 dom셈 토바 신도 뉴에 간로로와 망라 세와다 따기 람림난도 시야데 망라 세데 동송기 동좀 민지딩기 zul나진지 망보르고도 세다 다대 순거래 빈드 토도 토바는 신도 건데 와다 bungu 깰라 자바나진 제페 타 책임지 경고를 듣는다 bungu 타 책임지 어디까지 깰래 때나 텔리카 칼이야 와다 텐솔지 요래 세소도 와다 전주래 자기 접아 된다니 밀리장 토민교 밀리 토버 민교는 리밤바지가 와메 세다 땡고네 아주 가져지 따바이나 샘 둔도 샘쟁이나다 매송숨나다 그니 와시니 나외퇴요 맞다 장주스가 주봤는데 레주 전된데긴 딱직 된디 레주가 주봤는데 맞다 레왕긴 로그인지 딱디 나람라페 다야 거라요 말에 그게 와시니데 디민데가 땅가서 녀고리 이건 둔도이나 가와신데 tas lenginje namje ten zawani meba i kergata bare oda tusure te indigala dibamaji game seda ta chensuede oda tene tu bare te indigala ta chik omaji go da shirinde yachi ya oda di pegoni nyebar kawade di shirin thi tangwa oda te itere yaji nyashin buata rugal 체바웨이경 돈롤리 미니 니체 까웨 미원기 담체 집에 된데 마친즈 가지 서는 린친 베바이 냐뉴 추퍼기와 테웨이경 가지 미루 니네 리벨 이바타니 처럼 lumbol라 세 어다 직 자소 야지 자첨베나라 아니 리발롱아지 로 숨게나라 가지 야치도 가지 숨겨서 그 숨긴다카데 루이게나라 살지 등거래 세기냐신지 부가지 마대요 말 부가 먹고에네 양고 그냥이 좋아요와 루발 롱아데 야 로게는 코라게 지데 야 되냐데다 디 세기냐신 쳐바니 부게나라 빼 루발도 워쳐바디 시타스므로와 대존진 단데 단저 주주청 밀리데 더 받던데지 가버려 있어 수와 아니 양 lamrim na kibje na bani de tisudwa chagi tikbe gala tema ri de ya tema du torna khomba nisbo zone jira tendi khomba ta gure ise sudwa khab gitsela yungar torna khomba nisbo zone jira yungar ri jini chungchungre khab gitsemone chamore tegal khoyala kat ka yungar khoyala kat 미스를 전해지라. 되게 콤바타 그랬어 순도 빼고네. 어떻게 되게 이거는 삼지다나 또수 아주 달리 톰데겐데 트라미다는 팽기도 와. 어떻게 되게 순도하래. 기초간데.
Teziti student ngada shidas musongash. You know how to how difficult to attain precious human rebirth. This here, you know, we find more kind of shorter version of the contemplating on the rarity or rarity of attaining human life. in this we see kind of two topic. First, difficulty of attaining in related to the cause, and then second is in related to the result. But if you want to study more in detail, then the Lamrim text would be helpful. The Lamrim text that we use on Saturday teachings, Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, Stages of Path, and Stages of Path by Lama Tsongkhapa's text, with 3 volumes, might be too detailed and sometimes not precise and easy to understand like this one. So if you want to look more detail, because here we find kind of only 2, but in this text we find 3 or more, using example, of course, cause, result, looking from all different perspective and understanding how difficult to attain this human rebirth. Contemplating of the rarity of such a human life according to the difficulty of obtaining the cause. So here in this text, it kind of explains from kind of 2 perspective or 2 ways. First the cause, and second is the result. The 400 verses says, when the majority of human beings are involved in the unholy activities, the majority of ordinary people will certainly go to bad rebirths. Even beings with high status are continually engaged in unwholesome activities, and rarely do they resolve to avoid them in the future. Thus many of them go to bad rebirths and find it very hard to obtain a birth with high status. In terms of rarity, when we look at the population or 6 different realms, it is considered that the most populated beings are in the hell realm, then then hungry ghost, and then animal, and then human. So human is most rare. Within the human species or human being, when we look at the Buddhist practitioners, although there are many Buddhist practitioners, but within that, when we look at the practitioners who have access to both sutra as well as Vajrayana teaching, it is less in number. And within that, when we look at the true serious practitioners, that is even less. So it is very rare and very small in numbers. Although you might find maybe 30 or 1,000 something kind of fully ordained with vows, monks and nuns, but how much they are genuinely engaged in the serious practice. And so here kind of Geshe-la said he's using his own example of being a monk. He's been a fully ordained monk 22 almost 30 something years, and when we look at his own way of thought and how thought arises within him, as we mentioned earlier, the negative emotions or negative mentalities arises so easily, so spontaneously, and without needing any kind of guidance or instruction or teachers. But on the other hand, generating and arising of positive thoughts is very difficult. It's not easy. You need to make intentional effort. And His Holiness used an example here. It's like generating a positive thought and engaging in positive activities, you have a totally tired, exhausted donkey, and then you put a huge, luggage on that donkey and then pull it up and make it go uphill. So that would be really, really difficult, So that would be the example of how we are very sort of reluctant in kind of engaging and, creating a positive activities. And of course, there are many who consider themselves as Buddhist, but in reality, they really, it's just kind of more kind of, they identify themselves as Buddhists, but they really don't know the actual what Buddhist should be or how Buddhist, so without any kind of interest, they cannot categorize. Without any knowledge, they cannot categorize as a Buddhist in kind of strict way, and in international conference in Buddhism, His Holiness kind of advice of many monks and practitioners who pretends to be Buddhist practitioners, but in reality not. So we need to be more careful in how we, kind of as a practitioner identify ourselves. And because in Buddhist becoming a Buddhist practitioners, we need to be totally kind of qualified as a Buddhist practitioner. Even taking refuge vows, there is no guarantee that you become pure Buddhist practitioners. What we really need is to become a true, genuine Buddhist practitioners. You has to have the cause of becoming a Buddhist practitioners. So that is, a refuge practice. Within the refuge practice, a genuine trust or belief in the three objects of refuge. Along with that, a sense of a fairness of, taking a rebirth in the lower realms. And taking a rebirth in the a cyclic existence and the lower rebirth. So many of practitioners who claim to be Buddhists are probably not aware of this kind of sense of fear, or even worrying, remotely kind of worrying. So that's the reason why what we see here, majority of the people kind of certainly going to get a rebirth in the lower realm. Continue with the reading. As the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, by Shantideva says, "If my behavior is like this, I shall not win a human body again, and if this human form is not attained, they will be solely evil and no virtue." And the friendly letter says, "For an animal to obtain rebirth as a human being is more difficult than for a blind turtle to put its neck through a hole in a yoke adrift in the great ocean. So make your life meaningful, O King, practicing the holy teachings." So in this letter by author to his friend King, he used, this is an example that you typically find, using example how difficult it is to attain, precious human rebirth. Precious human rebirth, human rebirth with, 10, endowments and 8 leisures. And in this example, as many of probably the metaphor is, entire universe being an ocean, and on top of the ocean there's a, yoke. Sometimes we find a golden yoke with one hole in it, and then it's floating, kind of moving every moment, and then there's a blind turtle in the depth of the ocean, and then blind turtle comes up once in 100 years, sometimes it's 300 years. And so popping turtle's head in that yoke, we cannot say it's impossible. There is a possibility, but how rare it is. It's almost kind of next to impossible. And so that is like how rare it is to attain this precious human rebirth. And His Holiness two teachers use another example, like throwing a handful of sesame seed or mustard seed on the tip of the needle. It is possible that you can able to make one of the seed on the tip of the needle, but it's all again next to impossible. So they use kind of several different analogies or examples, and the point here is that when looking and contemplating these examples, what we should be thinking about is how rare and how difficult to attain this kind of precious human rebirth that we attain, and then thinking about how not to use it, how not to kind of waste it, make it something meaningful.
ngaso sumbe ke ta yung ma de ti ji ngore tusa de danji mari bor tung ko tati ken par ngaso sumgi ke gi yung tusa de danji mari ba te zen tung ne juya de la de danji mari ba da ngosum galwe te khona ni to be da dame to be shira ti chario ti ndigala 직 ngone digidi 직캠바이 나더니 제 파기 텐들이 이차다 때반에 파발레 레사사 메시아데 ngwe마 고아진 니기리 때마다 가버려. 그때 투사 가지고 코로아 코리아 그 투사데 레당 녀몽 강에 주고서네 마리바. 보다 마리바 도 탑텔라 텐데라 루도게 텐데라 중이 숨도와. 어떻게 간지 가신가나 아니 갈에 가링기마 머리 버버든 가바데 루도게 네 텐데나 중이세데 독치니 숨도 어떻게 또 저가 전부야 간지 가는도 뉴모 정원도 친친젤라 레 nemba misaya tabya mare le nemba de ye chinchela ta dunga mi ne tabchi ten so ni me so le what kanchi dizu ha kone kanchi ngaran so nyumu ga tab je de ke chesho de nyumu ga tab je nyumu lan dolen je de ke chimbori
one more paragraph that I should be reading earlier, the last section of that previous topic. Even more stupid than one who vomits into the bejeweled golden vessel is one who, born as a human being, indulges in the unwholesome deeds. So how we reborn in the lower rebirths in texts or scriptures by Nagarjuna, we find, for example, the correspond kind of causes out of hatred and anger. The intense hatred and anger, leads to the rebirth in hell realm, and then ignorance or delusions, or leads to the animal, and then extreme kind of high or intense attachment leads to the hungry ghost. And then basically these three are what we commonly call three poisons, and the root of three poisons is ignorance or delusions or afflictions. So the exact antidote for that is wisdom, realizing selflessness, and with this kind of understanding, then when we look at the the documents of dependent arising, we find it will make sense and come to understanding the statements such as when one attains the stages of Aryas or noble being, one won't create new karma. So the creation of karmic action under the influence of ignorance, we take rebirth. So as long as there is karmic action and ignorance, it will lead to creations of all kind of activities, and with that kind of negative activities, it will automatically lead to end result of suffering. So and when we look at the dependent arising or 12 links of dependent origination, there's a teaching which kind of teaches in a reverse way, so that we can kind of seize the because all those 12 links of dependent originations are connected, one to second to third. So if you look at the reverse, the final being death and dying, if you kind of seize that, it will seize the previous one and therefore previous one. So it will go up in reverse direction, and you can eventually seize the very origin of the the rebirth cycle, that is ignorance. And the most important for this kind of section is how can we challenge these destructive or negative or non-virtuous or negative emotions, and how can we challenge this, and how can we reduce or destroy or eliminate from our mind. Uh,
미 균수 주에다 자라니까 소소기 녀모라 균타 녀모디 같이 툭툭 짜이 툭대 대화 누나 들이 그 뭐마다 대화를 순도 어다 여와디 아까 툭툭 좀 되죠 마소리지 미식이 가자마시야 돼 말해 다순 남린 도스티 로고디 다디 마셔 아시는 거다 때마다 소소 집 문에 녀모라 가드자 가고도 가 장보시나 가고도 가. 이니가랑 모저 제야기 마저 지미 타자지기다 제 투야요 말게. 가지 지 남 계신인 장보시 대체 이제 나가니까 또 얼마지 많은 때리지. 지 문에 대해서나라 포도 중에 대해서 제보 때리는 징징 민중도 써야 해. 때마다 상대 연대인데 개 얘기하지 말이. 가정은 라바데 나시바데. 미라산나 지디나 위험하다. 지기가 걔들 안 되지 내가 뽑아요. 개개요 말. 지디가 지니 대전에 시에셔가 지 맞은 지미 시에는 못 살던데. 또 다디나 다지에스케니다 경험지 니 대쇼 그런 또또스. 지 라즈 가는데 달라미 가마차선지. 혹시제는 뭐. 저도 계속 중국대 배자디디 니 배자디니 야고도 니 야고도 써야 돼 양양도 로 그래서 시디를 삼다 누스지기나 또서 배자 마다다 따와니다 제가 처음으로 그래 마세 베랑이 미진 누나나 한다요 이 마세디 약간 이야기의 속에 강대나 즉 인상 셀런 나자 니까지 시험이들 데디그때 프레신스 나사지도 이마소리 야갈라 요마를 요코나 요마를 다 야르게 눈에 딜레비니가요 그니까 렌드고 돈이 온 거야 렌드고 돈 미치지라 리벤 렌드지 미치지지 이마지 렌즈메 미수지라 레테사 메디고나 다 프레신스 나사들이 어디 배자 되게 됐다가 대수 용할 거나 요마 수수군의 아버지는 미코 과정에 같이 찍지 마지 되는 그런 투야요. 삼백점 돈인지 투나 자산지 투도 와. 어떻게 시부지게 좀
After this, we'll stop here, and probably I don't think so much time left. As Buddhist practitioners or followers of Buddhism, it is always important, instead of kind of finding faults and judging other people, you need to kind of reverse that direction and look within yourself, and judge yourself, and what are the thoughts, emotions, activities that you are doing for yourself, and that is generating in your mind, and that should be kind of helpful, and because that himself being although he doesn't has confidence and kind of in giving teaching like a great text like a Lamrim, but he's doing his best to kind of simply sort of giving information what is in the text and what he has learned from his great teachers, like two of His Holiness teachers and His Holiness himself, and where he spent many years in back in monasteries, and so what he have studied and learned, he's sharing his best, and but in terms of actual practice and how much one follows the this Lamrim text, he doesn't have any any confidence, and sort of in fact sometimes it might be kind of for him might be embarrassing as he like himself to give teachings on a great text and its meaning here. So what is important for you is and he's doing this with His Holiness kind of instruction and advice, help people here and being in here, And what is important for you is study text that he kind of sometimes refers to as other texts and scriptures, and study and read and contemplate and gain kind of acquire knowledge from those different texts, because there is a big differences between somebody who is engaged in this kind of study practice and those who are not. And not only it is beneficial in terms of acquiring a positive, of course, acquiring a knowledge, but makes a great difference in where you live your life, and especially when you face the men are from thought process, such as maybe kind of depression, or maybe stress, which sometimes when these are created unnecessarily by not knowing how to think, respond kind of correctly. So those should be really kind of helpful in studying. So it's really kind of up to you how much you want benefits from this kind of studying and text. Any questions? Yeah.
Guess we can say anything about that.
What's it? Lung?
Lung.
Lung gome di kola kordida jawada ke lung gome kol deni doj koso ndi kanti la goresa. Lung las lung gome kar.
Tati sa chu me lung kangwa home yorte mata de teni che yorte. Lung de la sa cha kor ma to un jungu che de la. Mazu ta la me sungi la un jungu che de la. Os ki sa ma che shin la ma nyangyun che de teni che de mena un jungu ma ko che la ne angko dewa de ji un ko da kar ju de sanga lunga chimbaina 이 나사 속으로세 얘네 숨긴 누가 간지 라마 하기 냥능 여gen지다 냠도 리지 지 출보르도 주자다 룽곰네 맵장한테도 사실 룽단데와요 어디 뒤지소 라마 냥능 chen 텔리체데 마도 시레시레 지기어 말해서 수도
Lung gome la kandeji la gorsa, goma kandeji la gomer.
라
Lung gome la goma kandeji la gorsa.
근데 나를 주는 맵장하지요. 좀대 다다 풀코스 찍고. 그래서 간지 룸 고미야 단데와 친구에 껴지. 지금 지진진 시리시랑이 단다 이 지기 엄마서 숨도 남아있는 요겐지 다니면서 지지 제는 마도. 내가 하고 보면서
Beb jaya de kanda khari la gor beb jaya.
풀코스 랍션. 총회야 됐지. 다다디 요가 거기 요가 디비지 무비지도 어디는 또 스테이 풀코 또스 대신에 파기미도 그러나 지 야고 요면서도 어째 니락 투진 약등도
They are, lung is actually just wind or air. The meditation of wind or air, or I don't know, wind energy. Related with the tantric practices, they are meditation that is related with or based on, wind energy, fire elements, water, all different, the elements. And here the wind energy meditation is related with the tantric practice, and it comes in one of the practice of 6 yogic practices of Naropa. It's considered one of the yoga practice. The using kind of wind as an energy, and then sort of exhaling and inhaling. But it was advised that this practice needs to be done. Of course, at the beginning, it might be easy, give some relax. But if you are seriously engaged in this, then it is always advised to be done under the instruction of spiritual teacher who has good experience. Otherwise, later it can have could have a risk of harmful effects, blocking some energy channels or nervous system. So however, Geshe-la said he doesn't know exactly how it is done, or in one of the movie he was saying that it shows a little bit about this meditation, and so it's kind of yogic meditation practice. Yoga, it's the Sanskrit word, which I guess and I don't know, because it becomes so English word that I don't find an English word equivalent to it. So I'm assuming that when I say yoga, people get what I mean. In the Tibetan word is bep, which is kind of jumping before actually which is actually I think the part of this meditation. So I would say maybe the yoga and maybe most closest would be mechanism, kind of mechanical practice, and so this wind yoga is related to the mechanical practices of the body. Excuse me, I'm not done. So they do kind of sometimes before or maybe engage in this practice, they do kind of jumping high. And sometimes the practitioners can, when they're doing this practice, they can jump high up as like a 2-story high, and but it's kind of so. Yeah, beb get is a kind of chumdu kind of somewhere. How come by namji shaman is chungo. This the practice nowadays, like you're saying, there's kind of red rare, and within it's rare in general, but we find some practitioners in within a Kagyu lineages, Jegun Kagyu, and some you were saying couple of them in Ladakh area where one Geshe-la mentioned Chablais. He was a practitioner who when he does this kind of meditation of sort of wind energy meditation, and then it, as mentioned earlier, kind of involves jumping, and he can jump high up, like a 2-story high, maybe 30 feet something, and then falls down. But in doing practice, one has to be really careful in how to maintain physical postures, so one doesn't hurt when kind of falls down. And but now these are rare, and there was also a practitioner who does the inner heat meditation. So now it becomes kind of history, because the one who Geshe-la mentioned before, Chablais, he was already passed, and his reincarnation was found in almost like 11, 12 years old. Last question is.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you could also talk about what we have heard of as lung disorder, and I think that that's more related to going into a long meditative retreat and then perhaps coming out too quickly of the retreat and having what they call here in the West is mood disorder. So because you've been so deeply in meditation, perhaps even, like Tenzin Palmo in a cave for 12 years and then coming out too quickly, and how that has some negative impacts.
lungi naza laura ta gom gen ji cham ro den de and the wall in some day and some during Buddhist day laura and some day ne lam sama tön de ji zambal lungi naza ro ji muran ji koso sa da tinde gi da di gola gala ota gom je de zambal laura and some dan di zambal de le den gyogo ma tön de yan tuju ma ren ga ne ma tön de kap da de kap la kala wol lungi ken bi naza cha de do lo de koso lo
lungu 곰세가 lungne sini 카가라 에스와 lungu 곰가니 미데라 람테기 콘도 주지나 라마 챌린지기 중니 지니 냠던데네 곰게니 직직고 어디 쉬우시게 친구이 상황 쉬우시고 와 같이 lungne 시에데 직 오네 하라야고 마준 애니베 두스체베이나 아니 가르스 못한다. movement 야보지매 아니 제주되면나 농기나사 나의 농거 참는데네 농 대나네 제기가라다 즉 강조만 유자야매 호 하나 오바레 다야매 농 제근den님이 농 추충고 영은데서 때 강한 체기가 땡땡 가지가단 말이야. 미세기 제기기 참되는 때 강한 체기가 와. 이니도서 luneta lungum생이는 가가레스.
Lung disorder, you're saying lung disorder and lung meditation is totally two different things. Lung meditation is, it's an actual practice that, as we mentioned earlier, can be done with the, serious practitioner staying with or under his guidance strictly, very serious practice. Where lung disorder is can be, can be of many different reasons. Maybe lacking, proper nutrition when staying at, retreats, strict retreat. It happens more commonly in the tantric practitioners of the, action tantra performance, because under that practice one requires very strict diet. So they might be lacking. Even the average common people, they need to restrict or abstain from eating, from certain diets, and that makes kind of physical. And can have disorder of wind energy or lung here. So, but these two are just saying that these two are two different things. So, Dylan, kare. I was asking him that. So that you were saying that was good for for wind disorder or lung disorder. So those who are staying in a retreat of related with the action tantra, they need to abstain from having certain diet, and in order to kind of substitute that required diet, they use that nutmeg is that. In their whatever meal, so they use that kind of substitution. So like a garlic and sometimes little alcohol, these are the things that helps to. But so, but for Odin monks, they can't have alcohol, but there are many other ways that can help to, deal with or recover from lung disorder. Maybe, those who have been used to eating meat from very early age, but later, they can have bone soup, can be helpful. So there are many other ways that, nutrition-wise, to help, heal from lung disorder. But however, those two are different: disorder and meditation. I'll stop here for today. Rawe korwe shingam de pendan de wa ma lu zhong we ne che re se wa tian jin gyo so yin sha we se de ba tu ten gyo jamba ba we je da jen bon da kon do sang bo yin yang de shin de ke da gun ge je san da lo jen kya wa de da tam je ra tu te sum sha ben gya wa tam je ge ngo wa hong lo cho do ngo ba den da shin ge we za wa de ge Sambo Chanjera of Raiki in the land and circle by snow-white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefits, flows in your parts and generously tends in Yasu, remain until samsara ends. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and summoned about to so now I have to take it these merits to turn in the footsteps, as all the Buddhas and past, present, and future. Praise to education and supreme. So now I do dedicate these source of knowledge for all students to prophetical actions.
Thank you.